Borderlands 3 Redux Omega is the next chapter in the largest overhaul mod to date, and in this development update I want to show you what state the mod is in just under 2 weeks from launch. With Omega, we are fully committed to making this the best experience that Redux has had to offer since release, and in this video I'll be showing off some gameplay to show you how that looks. We will also be announcing some previously secret changes, so let's waste no time and start with balancing. Enemy balancing in Redux was the largest complaint we received at launch, and in Omega we've spent a large amount of time making it feel as smooth as possible whilst still making it feel challenging. Remember that Redux is not designed to play par for par like Borderlands 3, but rather serve as a difficulty increase to test the player's knowledge instead of just running headfirst at every enemy they see. This knowledge, while it may be less required in normal Vault Hunter mode, will however be required in the new TVHM overhaul, which will increase the risk and as a result the reward too. Remember that TVHM 2.0 is not for casual players who are unable to play at an intermediate level. It's a difficulty in Omega which is made for those who want that slight spike in skill level, as enemies also hit harder too. But speaking of hit harder, let's talk about how hard you as the player can now hit. In Redux Omega, non-elemental weapons have received a global damage buff, and elemental resistance on all enemies has been reduced to avoid funneling players into a weapon swap meta. And while element matching is still important in Redux and does help out a lot, it is no longer enforced, which I believe will make for a better experience overall. Along your playthroughs, you may now start to notice new enemy types featured in Borderlands 3 DLC popping up during your fights. This is done relatively sparingly, however it's implemented to encourage new playthroughs to make the players feel like they're playing through a new experience again. We've also put loot into base game item pools and removed some too, and as teased in the trailer, the new story skip feature will help you with your new playthroughs, as you are able to bypass chapters of the games to get more control over where you want to start. If you're like me and don't enjoy doing fresh playthroughs, you may want to start just after you take down Troy Calypso, and that's going to give you a little more room for, just doing what you want and giving you more freedom in your playthrough. And what's great about this is that you'll spawn in with a fresh set of loot for your Vault Hunter, so you've got kind of a head start, and you'll also get some cash and iridium as well, which is really nice. However, I want to make a shift here and talk about one of the biggest changes in Redux Omega, because as it was teased in the trailer, the Guardian Takedown is receiving a big overhaul. This is a change which on a large scale was put together by a few others as well as myself to help make the Guardian Takedown feel like a true endgame activity. Everything from boss drops to boss immunity phases, and even new platforms within the Takedown thanks to other modders like Dex Manley and Lone Master Reno have been added. And Scourge now has a chance to drop a reward which is totally unique to the Guardian Takedown, titled the Iridian Focusing Stone. This stone is believed by Dr. Patricia Tannis to reward rare currencies to those who learn of its knowledge, and obtaining this item will reward players with a diamond key, which they can then spend in the DLC 6 Diamond Armory. But it is not just the Guardian Takedown which is getting an overhaul, because as teased in the trailer, Omega features two brand new invincibles. One of them is the infamous Omega Manticore, which can now be found out in the treacherous lands of Necrotafeo. This powerful being serves as a new measuring stick for your Vault Hunter, and as expected, it also drops a piece of the brand new gear within Redux Omega. But speaking of new gear, how exactly does this stuff work? Well, new pieces of gear in Omega are a direct replacement of existing pieces in base game, meaning should you load into Omega with a gun which is being vaulted, in theory it will turn into the new piece. But this isn't entirely true. Think of gear more like a puzzle that uses the same picture as the puzzle you're using, but with different colors. Sure, you can always load into the game with the puzzle that I've got, but you're not going to have the colors on your puzzle that I do on mine. To put that into more literal terms, if you load in and already have one of the new weapons in your inventory, it won't properly function like the new one entirely, because it won't have the unique parts and roles that the new item comes with. This is a fantastic cheat proofing which also helps people identify what a modded item is should they be dropped from a player who has obtained them in a mod like Redux. What's also great about this is that the damage does not carry over to base game also, meaning my double anarchy right here, spoiler alert, has around 80k damage in Omega, but take this same weapon into base game and as you can see it looks completely different and also deals completely different damage. So it's important that we have this system in place as there are numerous ways in Redux that in theory could be exploited by community members. One of the most obvious culprits here are those who extract items for their viewers in Arms Race, for example. We'll also look at more ways down the line to help with this and are fully open to complying with Gearbox on any adjustments they wish to see. So I just wanted to let you guys know how we're handling new stuff in Omega and what we're doing to try and prevent people from sharing modded gear. And finally, before we end off here, I want to talk about some character changes. However, I only want to touch very lightly on this topic as quite frankly I often avoid it due to potential changes to those listed later on. But one of the biggest character changes being made in Omega is to Amara the Siren. Because since Borderlands 3 released, Amara was advertised as the melee siren, the phaserker if you will. But unfortunately, in my opinion, she never really felt like she could grasp, no pun intended, that title properly without the help of melee weapons or anointments to help her reach that spot. Nothing really set her out from the crowd too much in terms of how unique she felt. So in Redux Omega, Amara lives up to her name as she is the only Vault Hunter which can melee at lightning fast speeds, outperforming other Vault Hunters in an area which she is highly trained with, hence the name Phase Zerker. Additionally, we've also made some adjustments to help with her melee damage and gun damage also. This is to once again allow Amara to stand on her own 2 feet and let her unique characteristics shine through. But for now, I'm afraid that's all I can really say and show off in this video. Do remember that any feedback is highly appreciated, and also don't forget that Redux Omega launches exclusively on PC June 10th via Nexus Mods, my Discord server, and also GitHub. All links are in the description down below. And finally, the Redux Wikipedia is where you'll be able to find all of the latest information on patch notes when they're available, as well as item and boss guides for Omega once it launches. Thanks for watching, and thank you again for all of the support on Redux so far. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.